Hi everyone, welcome to our online jobs fair. We're just going to give it a minute before we make a start to let everyone who's registered to dial into our session today. Before we start, where are you, Natalie? You at home today?
Yeah, I am working from home today, so I'm in the nice warm comfort of my own surroundings, which is nice. It's pretty cold outside today.
Yeah, I'm the same. Although the sun was out earlier anyway, I think it's gone now,
Yeah,
which was quite nice.
definitely coming into winter, that's for sure.
I don't feel like I saw the sun yesterday at all. I just
No, I
remember
know.
it was grey, and then it was dark. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't help with the nights getting sort of darker as well, does it?
Yeah, but I've got my laundry out today, so I'm hoping that'll dry in the sun.
Fingers crossed.
Let's see, I've got quite a few people who signed up today, so might give them a little while longer for
It's
more people
okay.
to drop in.
Yeah, not a problem.
Mm.
And how are you, Yvonne? You doing well? Having a good day?
I am, thank you. I'm
Good.
I'm looking forward to having lunch, to be honest. So I think as soon as this session's over, I am getting onto lunch.
Not a problem.
Yeah. Okay, I think we might be ready to make a start now. So welcome again, everyone, to this session. It's NHS Careers with Guy's and St Thomas NHS Foundation Trust. I'm Yvonne and I work for Peabody, and I'm joined today by Natalie, who'll be delivering today's session. The event is being recorded and will be available on Peabody's YouTube channel. So all you need to do if you'd like to go revisit this session or to share it with a friend afterwards is to go to YouTube, search Peabody London. You'll find our channel and you'll find all of the recordings from all of the sessions for our online jobs fair. We've got 20 of those, I'll be on there. If the format from today is we'll hear from Natalie and then we'll open up for Q&A. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask, just put them into the Q&A box that's at the bottom of your screen and we'll try to get through as many as we can towards the end of the session. And there's also a chat function if you'd like to leave any comments. And before we start, I'd particularly like to welcome any Peabody residents who have joined us, and also to remind you that we've got a free one-to-one career service, completely free for Peabody residents. So you can get help with applying for jobs, looking for jobs, maybe writing a CV or improving your CV, or preparing for a job interview. Anything you need help with, our careers advisors can help you with that. So I'll hand over now to Natalie to kick off.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for taking the time to join the virtual careers information session this afternoon. So my name is Natalie. I'll introduce myself. I work as an apprenticeship advisor at Guy's and St Thomas's. I've been with the trust for, in fact, 2 years this week. Love the role that I do. And I feel very privileged in the role that I do as playing part of the support with bringing apprentices into the trust. The presentation that I'm going to give you today is I understand that there are different participants on the call today that are interested in hearing about apprenticeships, but also about job roles within Guy's and St Thomas's. So whilst my presentation is geared more towards apprenticeships, because that's the focus of what I do, I am going to talk to you about job roles within Guy's and St Thomas's and how to apply for those also. And I've also put on here some really useful resources and job links that will help you. So if I give you sort of just an overview in terms of the session, I'm just going to give you an overview, say, in terms of apprenticeships in general. What are the benefits of doing an apprenticeship? What are the types of roles that we have within Guy's and St Thomas's? And you'll be pleased to know, as of yesterday, we updated this presentation to showcase some more live job apprenticeships that we're recruiting for. So if you are looking for an apprenticeship, they are a great way to build and start your career within the NHS. We've got a number of live opportunities at the moment, so do stay tuned and feel free to ask some questions in the chat as well as we go along. And as I say, we do have an opportunity at the end for Q&A. So I'll talk you through the slides that we're going to do. So I suppose, why firstly would you want to consider a career within the NHS? Well, there are over 350 different types of careers that you can do within the NHS. What you'll find is if you come and work within the NHS, it is a career for life. Whilst I say I've been here for 2 years, when I speak to people and my colleagues and I say, how long have you been here? They say 30 years, 40 years. So it really is a career for life where you can come and work within the NHS and gain real experience and exposure in different areas and departments to actually work your way up. In terms of apprenticeships, as I say, that's kind of what I particularly focus on. There are hundreds of different apprenticeships that you can do within the NHS. And again, it's a great opportunity where if you don't have experience or you're looking to get your foot in the door within the NHS, an apprenticeship is a great opportunity to give you those skills that you need and work your way up to have that career within the NHS. Normally I do this as a bit of a Q&A and an open session, but I'm going to talk you through it because I just want to put some questions out there in terms of some myths that you may hear or you may have some understanding of apprenticeships. So quite often you'll hear people say that apprenticeships are just for the 16 to 18-year-olds. That's not true. Anybody of any age can do an apprenticeship. I say that I'm 40. I'm about to embark on my 5th or 6th apprenticeship myself, because apprenticeships are open to anybody of any age, and they really support you in terms of your career progression and development. So whether you're 16, 26, 36, 40 or older, anybody of any age from the age of 16 can embark on an apprenticeship. You might hear people quite often say, well, actually, apprenticeships are only for those in the manual trade, so hairdressing, engineering, carpentry. Well, as I've outlined, there are hundreds of different apprenticeships that you can do, many within the professional side, anything from paramedics, nursing assistants, healthcare, finance, HR, IT, data, leadership and management, the list goes on. There are a huge array of apprenticeships that are on offer within the NHS. Quite often you'll hear people say, oh, if I do an apprenticeship, I'm going to get paid the apprenticeship minimum wage. And yes, that is the case in some circumstances. However, what you'll find is most NHS trusts, they will pay in accordance to other trusts, to the national living wage. We do pay higher than the actual apprentice minimum wage. So when you hear of an apprenticeship, don't just assume that it's paying the minimum wage. Do explore it further to see what's on offer. You'll hear people sort of quite often say, well, apprenticeships, well, if I've got my GCSEs, that's equivalent to a level 2. I should be looking to do a level 3 or a level 4. Again, not the case. There's nothing to say that you can't look at higher apprenticeships. But what I would also encourage you is to not dismay apprenticeships that are at the same level of what you may have already achieved at an academic level. Remember, an apprenticeship is an opportunity for you to gain new skills, new knowledge, and new experience in a working field. So if you've already got your GCSEs, please don't not look at levels 2, 3 apprenticeship wise, because again, it's giving you the opportunity to get exposure, gain work experience. I suppose the biggest thing that I say to many people, and you'll probably be able to sort of resonate, is many times you apply for jobs and you don't hear anything back, which can be quite disheartening and frustrating because you don't know where to direct or what to do to change your application to make it different. But many times you'll apply for jobs and people might say, well, actually, you don't have any work experience. Well, how do you get the work experience in that particular field if somebody won't give you the opportunity? That's where apprenticeships come in. They give you the opportunity where you might not have worked within the NHS before, but you can come in, you can learn from experts, and you can build your knowledge and your skills up to stay and be very successful. Again, one of the questions that I get asked very often is, if you've got a degree, can you do an apprenticeship? So in 2017, the ruling changed so that if you've got a degree, you can do an apprenticeship. What I would say is, if you've got a degree, for example, in business management, you couldn't do an apprenticeship in business and administration because you've already got a higher qualification. If you've done a degree in business management and you're looking to do an apprenticeship in engineering, for example, then yes, absolutely, you can undertake that apprenticeship because, again, you're learning new skills and gaining new knowledge from undertaking the apprenticeship. So if you do have a degree and you're wanting to do an apprenticeship, you can do it providing that the apprenticeship is in something different. Some of the benefits of doing an apprenticeship is absolutely, you hear it very often, you earn while you learn. You're undertaking a qualification whilst working in a practical working environment. And that work experience that you gain while working in that practical environment is invaluable. It's an alternative to further education. So if you were going to look at doing an apprenticeship rather than going down the university or the college route, the apprenticeship is the alternative to that. You absolutely gain a recognised qualification. Maths and English are also things to consider. So as part of some apprenticeships, if you haven't already got maths and English, or the entry requirement isn't asking for maths and English, as part of that apprenticeship, you will gain maths and English as an additional accreditation. Apprenticeships do provide a career pathway. I started my very first apprenticeship when I was 16. It's led me to where I am now, which is why I'm so passionate about apprenticeships and what they do. But fundamentally, the real benefits of apprenticeship is you're gaining real life work experience. The theory is great, but actually being able to take that theory and put it into the work environment and to learn from it is invaluable. And that's the biggest thing and the benefit of doing an apprenticeship. You learn from experts, you learn from people within that particular field. It improves your employability in terms of that progression route as well. And the idea is at the end of that apprenticeship, the aim is that there's a position at the end of it, which we hope that you can undertake. And that's how you then build upon your career within the NHS. Just wanted to give you an overview in terms of apprenticeships to say, but please stay with me because I'm going to talk to you about jobs within the NHS. There are a huge array of different apprenticeships that you can undertake. And what I just wanted to showcase you here are the different apprenticeship entry routes that you can undertake within the NHS. So not necessarily within Guy's and St Thomas's, but within the NHS. So if, for example, you're somebody that's really interested in dental, then actually, as opposed to going down the college, the academic route, you could look at doing an apprenticeship within dental nursing. Again, if you're somebody that was really interested in the pharmacy side, again, look at an apprenticeship as the alternative where you can gain that invaluable work experience and gain the accreditation that goes with that as well. So what I have put on here that may be useful to you is there is a link and a resource for the NHS jobs. If you go on there, it will have jobs, it will have apprenticeships that are currently being advertised at the moment for different trusts. But as they do look on there because it gives you opportunities that are available through different NHS organisations. If you're wanting to know what we offer within Guy's and St Thomas's, we offer apprenticeships within what's called the Healthcare Science Level 2, which is where you might be, for example, like if you're somebody that likes to fix things, you might be getting involved in fixing of MRI machines, for example. So it's very technical, hands-on, but it has a great opportunity where you can do your level 2 and progress onto the level 4. We bring apprentices in on that program. We recruit in April, May for a September intake. We have 100% success rate with those programs. Again, as I mentioned on the previous slide, pharmacy, always a very popular one and one that we're really proud in which we offer. If you're interested in pharmacy, we recruit both at a level 2 and a level 3. Although our level 3s, as you can see on the screen, there is an entry requirement for these apprenticeships where you need to have maths and English and science. Dental nursing, yeah, absolutely. Year on year, we've had great success in recruiting into our dental nurses. We've had dental nurses come in and train and have been offered and secured permanent positions within the trust. For those of you that are interested in a business role, and actually that's really broad in terms of what that is, we recruit as and when meets the needs of the trust, and I'm going to show you in a moment. We do have a number of live opportunities. Business admin can be anything from working on reception, working within the education team, supporting and facilitating with training, working within the cancer centre, supporting patients with referrals and booking appointments. Business admin is so big, and they're one of the most popular apprenticeships to which we recruit into. And again, I say I'm going to show you in a minute some live opportunities that we have if you are interested. And what has come new to us this year, which we didn't recruit for before, is what we call our operating department practitioners. They are, I suppose, your staff members. They are your apprentices that are supporting with the preparation of theatres. That role is done via and supported by university, and therefore there is a strict entry requirement on that, being the A to C in Maths and English again. You need UCAS points and a care certificate in place. Again, we recruit every April for those roles for a September intake. So for those of you that are interested in a business admin role within the NHS, now is a great time to apply. I have 8 current roles that I'm currently recruiting for. I've potentially got some more roles that are coming in. So if you're looking to start an apprenticeship and kickstart your career, now is a better time than ever to apply. We do, as I say, have a number of live roles that we're recruiting for. As you can see, predominantly a lot of the roles that we're recruiting for are what we call our patient access coordinators. So if you're somebody that likes dealing with customers and you love helping people and you want that patient interaction, these are the roles for you. They are very much that first point of call, working on reception, meeting and greeting the patients, supporting them with booking in appointments and clinics. So you will get to see the patients time and time again to build those relationships up. We do, as I say, have a number of roles that we're recruiting for at the moment. One of the roles we are interviewing for next week. It closes on Monday. Don't delay, apply. Again, we've got some other roles that we're recruiting for that are closing just over a week. And then we've got another role which you might be interested in, which is what we call a medical secretary. So that role isn't so much of a patient-facing role. It's supporting the doctors and consultants with their diary management. So if you're somebody who doesn't want that patient-facing role, but really wants to play a part of the NHS and contribute in some way, but is really, methodical, has good attention to detail, really well organised, this role is for you. It's an apprentice medical secretary's role, and we've got one of those roles at the moment. So if you're interested in an administration role within Guy's and St Thomas's, say now is a better time than any to start applying for these jobs, because you see the deadlines for these roles are going to be closing shortly. Whilst I'm talking to you quite a lot about apprenticeships, I'm mindful that some of you might not be interested in an apprenticeship. You might just want to come and work at Guy's and St Thomas's via, vacancies. At the moment, we do have quite a number of job roles that we are recruiting for. So if you go onto our website, and again, if you go onto the link, or if you go onto Google and you type in jobs at Guy's and St Thomas's, there are about 30 live jobs at the moment that we are recruiting for. I suppose, particularly if you're looking again at administration roles, they're anything within, again, medical secretary, recruitment, patient access coordinators, because they're quite popular and we have a real demand for those. But if you are looking for jobs within Guy's and St Thomas's, and I encourage you to look on our website, because we've probably got about 30 live job roles at the moment, and that continues to get updated as and when the vacancies come vacant. So do go on there and have a look to see if there's any that you're interested in. Again, some of them might range from full-time to part-time. Some of them might be based at St Thomas, at Guy's, or out in the community. So have a look and see what's there that might be of interest to you. I did want to share some additional resources with you, because I appreciate there are participants on the call that might be looking for different things. If you're interested in an apprenticeship, I've put on there our email address. I have access to that, as to my colleague. If you've got any questions about apprenticeships within Guy's and St Thomas, if you wanted more information and we aren't able to cover it as part of the session this afternoon, or if you're wanting to be on our mailing list, for example, so if you're interested in the pharmacy roles and you know that we don't recruit until April, so how are you going to hear about those? But if you want to be added to our mailing list, contact the apprenticeship team and I will add you to our mailing list so that you can hear about when these roles go live. As I say, I did want to give you some additional resources that might help you. As I said, if you're looking for a vacancy or bank staff, go onto the Guy's and St Thomas's job page. All the information is there. If you're looking for an apprenticeship, may it be an apprenticeship with Guy's and St Thomas's or an apprenticeship for a different employer, if you're not already registered on the Find an Apprenticeship website, which is a government website, I absolutely would encourage you to do that. It's the #1 platform where vacancies are advertised for apprenticeships. It's brilliant, it's nice and easy to use, and you can just set up job searches and alerts, and then apply for apprenticeships as and when they become available. If you're looking for a job within the NHS, the best website is to go onto the NHS jobs. Again, it has a search criteria where you can search in, I don't know, maternity or again, admin, and it will give you a huge list of NHS job roles that are currently being advertised at the moment. If you're just wanting to find out some general information about apprenticeships, particularly within the healthcare side of things, if you go onto the HASO website, it's a fantastic resource. It will give you resources that will help you in terms of different pathways. So, for example, if you wanted to be a paramedic, it would tell you what different apprenticeships you would need to undertake in order to then become a qualified paramedic. It's a brilliant resource to use. So if you're looking specifically within sort of healthcare, I would also direct you for that for further information and details. At that point, I think I've done okay on time. Yeah.
No, perfect. Thank you so much, Natalie. We've got lots and lots of questions here, so let's try to get through as many as we can. Natalie actually has asked you, Natalie, the nursing and midwifery apprenticeship degree is a level 4. Is there an opportunity for individuals to join the apprenticeship at a level 3 and work their way up to a level 4?
Okay, so a couple of things that I would say to that. Go to the HASO website, because it will tell you what pathway in terms of apprenticeships will take you to that end goal. We don't offer apprenticeships, so we don't recruit externally, internally under the nursing apprenticeships. And again, I suppose that's where it might be worth having a look on the apprenticeship website or the NHS jobs website, because whilst we don't recruit for those apprenticeships, there might be other NHS trusts that do recruit, for example, like nursing associates. And again, if you go onto the websites, it will tell you kind of like the entry criteria. It tells you the pay, the hours, and it tells you sort of when their intakes are. You'll generally find that they might be sort of once a year, because they follow like an academic year. But again, because we don't recruit for those, you'd have to contact different NHS trusts to find out when their intakes are, what their recruitment process is, and whether or not you could bypass certain pathways. Because not with every apprenticeship, you don't have to go from a level 2 to a level 3 to a level 4, level 5, 6, 7. You can bypass different ones. Depending on the role that you're going for, depends on whether or not you could then skip in terms of what you've already achieved previously. But again,
Sure.
if you go, I suppose to Natalie, my advice would be have a look on the HASO website. It would tell you the pathways to get into maternity and whether or not you could potentially sort of skip. And then I would suggest to her I'd probably suggest having a look on the NHS website as opposed to the apprenticeship website, and then contacting trusts that she knows of, that she might be interested in, and
That makes
seeing what
sense.
their entry
Yeah.
requirement is,
Okay.
and doing it that way.
Yeah, sure. Someone else has asked, is there face-to-face help available with filling out applications? This person says, I volunteer for a hospital for a year now, and they've also graduated from a Bachelor's of Health and Social Care, level 6, looking for any kind of job.
Yeah, okay. I would suggest that if that person, I don't know who the name is, so I apologise. And I don't know if I can do it in the chat. If you want to put my details in the chat, they can
Sure.
contact me and I can give them some advice.
I'll do that shortly. Someone else has asked again, I think it might be more a one-to-one sort of advice. Aria has said that, they were a medical student many years ago abroad, and they studied medicine for 5 years, and they don't really know what to do now. And what would you suggest in that situation?
I suppose for Aria, it depends on what direction they want to go into. I think one of the other things to bear in mind as well is if you're applying for, again, it depends differently. If you're applying for jobs or apprenticeships, some of them might have an entry requirement, like I said, the maths and English. So if you've got if the entry requirement, for example, is asking for maths and English, you'll have to be able to provide the physical evidence that you meet that criteria. If you've got certificates from abroad and you haven't got them verified through, it's called ENIC now, it used to be called NARICS. If you haven't got your certificates translated and verified as to what the UK equivalence is, I would encourage people to do that, particularly if the job role is saying, I want somebody that's got maths and English, you have to provide the evidence for that. But I suppose it would be looking at, and this is what I say to anybody looking for any job or apprenticeship, it's kind of thinking about, well, where do you want to go and how are you going to get there? Whether that's
Yeah.
through the job route, the volunteering, work experience, internships, apprenticeships, short courses. But I suppose establishing where you want to go and then how you're going to get there. The other alternative is if you're not too sure, you could look at doing bank staff through the trust. So that is where you would sign up for temporary work contract.
Okay.
So it's not permanent.
Sure. No,
It's temporary,
yeah,
so it gives you an
that makes
opportunity
sense.
to go and work in different areas to get different exposure to find out what it is that you want to do.
Okay. Also, just for everyone to know, we've dropped Natalie's email into the chat there, so please note that down if you'd like to contact her directly for any follow-up questions. Lisa here has asked, I'm 49 next week and really want to work within the NHS. I'm wanting to know if I have any chance. I brought up my children and now it's my time. What would you suggest?
I absolutely, happy birthday for next week. I absolutely hear what you say. I'm 40, I'm 41 next month. Actually, I lose how old. I've got 2 kids of myself. It's my time. I'm actually looking to do a degree apprenticeship in the new year. I unfortunately have lost my maths and English certificate, so I'm retaking maths and English now to help me to get onto that degree, because I want to progress, I want to develop. As I said, apprenticeships are open to anybody of any age. When you apply for a job or you apply for an application, your age isn't stated on there. And actually, most of the time, those applications, when they come through for shortlisting, they're anonymized, so we don't know the gender of that person, the ethnicity. We don't know how old somebody is. It's done on the basis of your application, and particularly if you're filling out, it's different if you're filling out an application via NHS Jobs. There is a statement, there's statements that you have to fill out, and providing you fulfill that criteria and you meet the entry criteria in terms of what the job role is asking for, then there shouldn't be a reason as to why you don't get shortlisted. And that's your opportunity to then get in front of that employer and say, this is me, and answer the question. So any interview, they'll follow a competency-based interview. So if you haven't heard of something that's called the STAR model, Google it,
Sure.
do look at it,
That
because
does make sense.
every organisation recruits for it. And particularly if you're applying for NHS, my top tip is always have a look at the values of the trusts, because you'll always get asked questions, competency-based questions based around the values of the trust. So it's a good tip if you're looking to go and work in the NHS.
I think you've already answered this one, but someone else says, I'm 51 years old, unemployed, degree holder. Will I qualify for an apprenticeship?
In answer to that question, yes. Depending on the degree that person holds would determine what apprenticeship they can apply for. Because again, the degree that you have has to be in a different area of learning to an apprenticeship. So you couldn't do business management and business admin, but if you've got a degree in, I don't know, business management, but you wanted to do an apprenticeship in nursing or finance, you can do that. Just needs to be something different.
Okay. Somebody else has asked, can you apply for live roles by sending in a CV rather than going through the website, given the short turnaround for some of the closing dates?
Okay, so there's 2 answers to that. If you're applying via NHS Jobs, you have to fill out, so we don't take CVs effectively, we're not allowed to do that. So if you're applying for jobs via the NHS Jobs, you don't do a CV, you fill out an application form. If you're applying for the apprenticeships that I've just advertised, it's a completely different process. You just have to, don't get me wrong, you have to upload your CV, you have to upload your certificates if in some of those roles that we're asking for maths and English, but it's just a basic application that the training provider asks on our behalf to confirm that you're eligible. Biggest thing that I would say to that is if you're filling out the application for the apprenticeships that I showed, they will ask what your maths and English is. Please do fill that part in. even if you upload your CV and you've got it on your CV that says you've got I don't know, a C in maths and a functional skills level 2 in English, if you do not put it on their application form, they will assume that you don't have it and your application won't get acknowledged. It will
Oh,
just
I
become
see. Sure.
unsuccessful. So
Yep.
do make sure you're filling it out, because it's the entry criteria.
No,
So
that makes
slightly
sense.
different, application process that we're recruiting for.
Okay. This is a question now more about existing NHS jobs in general. Do you
Yep.
need any relevant experience to apply for existing NHS jobs?
Okay, yeah, good question. So at the moment, I think there's about 30 jobs at the moment that we're recruiting for. Again, couldn't answer for other trusts, but what we're recruiting for within Guy's and St Thomas's. When you look on the website, you'll see it will say like a band 3, bands 4, bands 2, and so forth. Each of them will have a personal spec, and each of them will tell you what the criteria is depending on the job role and the banding. You'd have to have a look in the job specification as to what I suppose the entry or the requirement is for those, as to whether or not you need experience,
Okay.
well, general work experience, not,
Mm,
I wouldn't say within the NHS,
mm,
experience, be it in a customer service role, particularly for the patient facing roles that we recruit for, so the access coordinator roles that I spoke about
sure.
earlier.
Natalie, if it's okay with you, we might run for another 10 minutes to get through some of these questions. Is that
I
okay?
know, yeah, I'm
No,
trying
is
to be
that
as quick as I
no, no, no,
can because
no,
I
no,
know we've
that's
got lots
fine.
of
If
questions.
that's okay with you, and just to let everyone on the call know that we're going to run for a little bit longer just to get through more of these questions.
Yeah,
So
no
somebody
problem.
else, Helen's asked, I currently have a level 2 functional skills in English.
Yeah,
I also have level in business principles.
yeah,
And they're also currently studying for a level 1 in math. Is
yeah.
it possible to apply for an apprenticeship?
Right, got it. Wonderful. So just to confirm, so Helen's got level 2 functional skills in English, but level 1 in maths.
Yes, and then they're also applying
Business for,
business. That's right.
yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I suppose the question is, if you're looking at the business admin roles that we're recruiting for at the moment, the entry, so the entry criteria that we're looking for is that candidates have to have C's or above in maths and English. So that would be a GCSE, functional skills, key skills, adult literacy, adult numeracy, bachelorettes. So where Helen at the moment has got a level 1 functional skill, at the moment, she wouldn't meet the entry criteria to, I suppose she could apply for it, but she wouldn't meet the criteria in terms of her application going forward. What I would be suggesting is, if she's looking to do the apprenticeship, I would suggest, Helen, that you link in, and I don't know if you do it within Peabody or whether or not she'd have to link in with a local college, but she looks to do her functional skills level 2. And then once she's achieved that, then she could apply for apprenticeships. Because don't forget, I suppose, particularly with us, so these roles that I'm showing you at the moment, yes, we've got 8 roles. I'm in talks at the moment. I know that I'm going to be having more roles. And I can absolutely tell you, 2022 is going to be huge for us. Things are ramping up, particularly within the services. So it's not a case that you apply now or that's it. We continuously have vacancies. So I've got no doubt that 2002 is going to be just as busy as what this year has been. But I suppose Helen, I'd be saying, do your functional skills level 2. If you want to be notified of when live roles are coming available, again, on the chat, it's got my email address. Email me, I'll add you to my mailing list so that you'll hear about when new opportunities come about, and then you can apply for them.
Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you, Natalie. Sandra has asked, what about apprenticeships in HR? She says, I have my CIPD.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Sorry. So it's a good question, actually. So we've recruited apprentices within the HR department, but under the business and administration apprenticeship. So we've never recruited apprentices to do like the CIPD. We've had an apprentice that we recruited in HR, but under the business and administration apprenticeship, and then she completed. So I suppose if you're looking specifically within HR, and I can understand why you'd want to do that, I would be suggesting, if you go onto the NHS jobs, type in HR or human resources, and then look at who's recruiting within those areas, because it might be that we don't recruit within HR externally, internally, but it might be that another trust does recruit in those areas. That's where, I suppose, that's why I do these information sessions, because I think it's really important that we give you the information and advice so that you can make the best decision, an informed decision for you. And as a trust, we don't necessarily recruit what you're looking for. Equally, another trust doesn't recruit what we do. So it's about us sharing that information, so that if we can't offer you what you're looking for, well, who can, and how do you get that information, or where do you go to if you don't know that? Which is why I love doing these sessions, because it's really good to kind of know what's out there and what's available, but also sometimes to break down those barriers of apprenticeships and what they are and what they mean. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right.
No, Michael here's just asked, what do I need for a physiotherapist apprenticeship, if they exist?
Okay, so physiotherapists, say we don't recruit into. I would say to Michael, if you go onto the HASO website, I don't know if I can do it, or Yvonne, I don't know if you can do it after, send everybody the resources on the site.
Absolutely, we can do that. Yep, that's not a problem. Yeah, we can share those with everyone.
Wonderful. So Michael, I would be saying go onto the HASO website, because again, that tells you if you want to be qualified in a certain area, what apprenticeships or what pathway do you need and what the entry criteria is. If you're looking to do an apprenticeship within physiotherapy, again, I would say look on the apprenticeship website, type in physiotherapy, and see what live apprenticeships are available. I would also encourage you to look on the NHS jobs, because whilst I say NHS jobs, yes, it advertises for jobs within the NHS, but they also do advertise for apprenticeships within the NHS. So use that website as well as another tool. So look at both platforms, because you might see things on one website that you don't see on another.
That makes sense. I've got a question here from Shira. Sorry if I've mispronounced your name. Hello, what are the chances of being accepted for an apprenticeship without maths grade C or above? But I'm in the process of enrolling and completing a functional skills level 2 GCSE equivalent.
Okay, so again, it's a good question to ask. So the only apprenticeship that we recruit for at the moment where there isn't an entry requirement is the pharmacy level 2. Although there is talks about that changing. All the other apprenticeships that we recruit for, because they're at a higher level, you do need the maths and English. So a couple of things that I would be suggesting. Not all apprenticeships have an entry requirement for maths and English. Just because I'm saying actually the roles that we have are requiring them, again, apart from pharmacy, it might be that other trusts, their entry requirements might be different depending on the university or the provider that they're using. So it's a shame I can't show it to you, but the best website that I would say to anybody looking for an apprenticeship is if you go onto the DirectGov website, or if you go onto Google, type in apprenticeships, it's a Find an Apprenticeship website. It's a wonderful platform.
We can share that in our resources as well after this.
In there, it will tell you what the entry criteria is. So whilst I'm saying to you, say, yes, you've got to have maths and English for these roles that we're recruiting for, not all apprenticeships require you to have them, because if you don't have them, you'll undertake maths and English as part of that apprenticeship.
Yep.
Or so if you want something like now, because you want to work, then I would suggest go onto the apprenticeship website, look at apprenticeships in your local area, and just have a look what the entry criteria are, and each of them will tell you.
Callum here has asked, looking for a disability administration role, are there any opportunities specifically for people like himself? He has mobility issues.
Okay. Again, I think it's about, don't forget, when you apply for a job, an apprenticeship, you're, I suppose, if you're answering the questions and you're filling out the application, that you fulfill the entry requirement, and that's the main thing I say to anybody, is you've got to be able to fulfill the main criteria. Then it's about, then when you're then coming on for an interview, you will be asked if there's any reasonable adjustments that need to be made to be able to support you. And even when you are, coming for an interview or you're offered the position, you would always undertake things like occupational health to find out what adjustments need to be made to be able to support you with that. And particularly with apprenticeships, I suppose each apprenticeship is very different as well. So if you've got a learning disability, it's about knowing what that learning disability is, so that a couple of things, the training provider can support you in terms of how do you learn best, how can we help you, but it's also about employers knowing that information on the same basis. How can we support you, how can we develop you, what's your best way of learning,
Absolutely. No, that
what
makes
facilities
sense.
do we need to change?
Sure.
But I suppose it's when you get to interview stage that I would hope people would be open and honest enough to talk about it,
Sure. No, that
so
makes
that
sense.
the right support can be put in place.
Okay. Nell here has asked, I'm already a uni student. Can I
Yeah.
do an apprenticeship, and do you offer part-time positions because I have caring responsibilities?
Okay. Okay. So there's a couple of caveats to that. So if you're currently in education at the moment, may it be university or A levels, or you can't undertake an apprenticeship at the same time. You have to do one or the other. You can't do two. Equally, you can't, for example, put your degree on hold and defer it because it's classed as double funding. So you either have to do your degree or you do an apprenticeship. But again, what I would say is a couple of things: is there's no reason why you couldn't do your degree, and then after that you can then look at doing an apprenticeship should you wish to do it that way. It's not all or nothing. In terms of the question for part-time, and it's a good question to ask, most apprenticeships, and again this is quite generalized, most apprenticeships you're recruited on the basis of working full-time, so probably sort of 37.5 to 40 hours a week. However, there are some where they will recruit on reduced hours on a part-time basis. But again, what you'd have to do is look on the apprenticeship website, and it tells you what the working hours will be. So it might say that it's Monday to Wednesday, or it might say that it's working weekends, for example. But again, you'd have to have a look on the apprenticeship website and look at each role individually to see what the working hours are and the duration.
Sure, that makes sense. Nikito, he's asked, I have a public health degree. Can I apply for the job roles available or go through apprenticeships to get access to them? Also, do you have to have some experience to work in the NHS? Most of the jobs I've applied for, I've been unsuccessful for.
Okay, right. So I'm hoping I'm going to answer the question, and Yvonne, pick me up if I've missed anything.
No.
So the degree in public health, can you apply for an apprenticeship? Yes, is the answer. Can you apply for the apprenticeships that we're recruiting for? Yes, is the answer. What else did I miss?
And then also, do you need an experience to work in the NHS?
Wonderful, thank you. Yvonne, in terms of that, and Nikita, no, you don't need any work experience. So if you don't have any work experience, don't let that put you off. We are recruiting at the moment where your degree would be fine and you don't need any work experience.
Sure, no, that makes sense. Look, Natalie, we've run, it takes us to 1:40 now. There's a few more questions that we haven't been able to get to, but what I would suggest to everyone to do is to contact Natalie directly to her email, and I'll read it out. It's natalie.henderson, the digit 2, number 2, at gstt.nhs.uk. It's also in the chat box. We'll send it out to you via email. All of these slides will be available on the Peabody website. So you can contact Natalie directly if you've got any more questions. If you're a Peabody resident, you can get access to our free one-to-one career service, so we can support you that way as well. So there's lots of ways to get in touch after today. But thank you everyone for all of your questions. It's been a really good session. We've had so much engagement. We're really pleased to see so much enthusiasm for NHS apprenticeships.
Wonderful. And thank you all very much for your time. And just make sure you do put a 2 on the end of my email address, because there's 2 Natalie Hendersons in the trust. And obviously I want to make sure that if you're sending an email, it's coming to the right person. But listen, thank you all very much for your participation today. I'm hoping you found it useful. I'm hoping it's made you sort of rethink what you might look for and how apprenticeships or coming to work at the trust works. I say I've been here for 2 years. I love it. It's a great organisation to work. Whether you come and work at Guy's and St Thomas's or another trust, NHS is definitely a career that you can build upon. But thank you all very much for your time this morning. Well, it's this afternoon now.
It is. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Welcome. Bye.